est signé. Je suis ici. Aujourd'hui, c'est samedi, le 5 mars. Session scolaire des Draveurs. Je minute. Pas une bonne vidéo. Je vais le mettre là-dedans, mais je ne suis pas certain. Je minute là. C'est marqué Canada Post, c'est rentré à l'intérieur, mais je ne sais pas s'il y a une clé, puis ici c'est les journaux. Je sais pas quoi faire trop là. Ce que je peux faire, c'est. Je sais pas. Il doit y avoir du monde qui en met dedans des fois. C'est peut-être pas Canada Post, ça fait qu'il doit avoir une clé. Fait que c'est livré. Puis là, je vais mettre la vidéo tout de suite après celle-là qui est un PDF de la lettre qui se fait lire. In English.
March 1st, 2022. Apologies to you, as I have not been out of my home that much since I intended to deliver this mail to you. I still operate on a very low budget, and therefore, I must be wise with expenses such as fuel. I have even decided to deliver this letter directly to you while also creating a video record of it, so as to save me the postage fee surcharge as well as any additional delays. Please note that, for any potential legal matter that I am involved in, that I choose to post any interactions that include me, online for the sake of full transparency. This means that I will be posting the video of my delivery of this letter, and its content, to you online, for public access, and as soon as I get back to where the internet is accessible to me. Please note that on Friday, February 25, 2022, a letter was received, in my name, which contained a check for $426.32. This is the only attempt at payment, since the 2021/2022 school year began, that I have received. I acknowledge that you can keep using this mailing address, although not my own, for the sake of communication that legally requires to be snail-mailed. Please be aware as well that I see this check as a dangling carrot that further adds to your list of growing effronteries and human rights violations of my person. I may also choose to, after further investigations into correspondence between your staff at Draveurs, to suggest to the judge that your overall conduct in my regard consists as being valid as being hate crimes. It goes without saying, even though I live below the poverty line, that I will not be cashing this check of yours, as this would make me a participant in my own victimizations. In fact, I would only cash your check in case of extreme duress, such as famine, an urgent need for medicines, or a dire need for acquiring shelter, for which I would be able to provide documentation of such status for a judge to consult at that time. If you choose to place a block on this check, now knowing this, that I seek to attempt not to cash in, then I am certain that the judge would also be able to see it as the malice that it represents. Please note that I have not accessed, and will likely not access, any documentation online regarding my financial records with your organization, example pay stubs, etc. Following this, I request that you send any documents, that you deem that I should be aware of, to this same mailing address. Please note that I am also aware that this amount, $426.32, even by your own rules suggesting money laundering is involved, as well as collective agreements that do not apply to me, may also be incomplete due to your failed administrative systems concerning payments to staff, and which I have not agreed to due to their abuses, is lacking in its final totals. This being said, what I suggest below may be seen as already including the costs of interest incurred by Draveurs for the delivery of my services as a culture repairer/learning specialist, where the amounts already seem to exclude work hours already provided. Here are the three outcomes that I offer for you, and for your lawyer, to review and to be choosing from at this time, along with the dates for which these offers will expire. A. Before March 31st, 2022. I would accept the amount of $1,700 along with a meeting, or a series of meetings, negotiating for the sake of some culture repairing projects to be implemented province-wide. These negotiations must involve a representative from both the Ministère de l'Éducation et le Ministère de l'Enseignement Supérieur du Québec, as well as representatives of teachers' unions, French and/or English, as all children matter, that would be representing a minimum of 71,000 members of the staff in Quebec. This is the low financial cost and high culture repair option. B. Before June 30, 2022, I would accept the amount of $14,500 along with a genuine letter of apology from both the Centre de Services Scolaire de Draveurs as well as the union that was supposedly meant to represent me, should it truly exist as what it claims to be. I say this to you now as no representatives have ever made attempts to contact me to this date. In another province, when I was a union steward for educators myself, it was our duty as stewards to go and introduce ourselves to new educators early on and to also bring them printed materials so that they may familiarize themselves with our services. The employer provided to us, the union stewards, the information needed so as to make first contact with these new educators. This letter of apology, part of option B, should be signed from both the employer and the union, must include words such as the behaviors that you have suffered, and that you explained to us were also suffered by the children, should never have happened, and we thank you wholeheartedly for your services as both a culture repairer and a learning specialist. This is the medium financial cost and medium effort culture repair option. It is also the option that I would recommend to you at this time. See, this final option will be the result of your further neglect in taking these matters regarding both your staff, as well as the learners that you are entrusted to serve, with the seriousness that they deserve. I would file papers, in small claims court, for a total of $35,000, where I would also include 3 conditions. 1. That some of the income from this amount be used in culture repair projects of my choosing. 2. That the judge does not place any orders which would block the transparency of this case, example that no journalist/media coverage be allowed, or of any limits for my questioning/interrogating your staff myself during the court proceeding, etc., and 3. That I also be allowed to sue various individuals afterwards, those would have partaken in the worst occurrences of slander and/or defamation of my person as may be discovered/documented along the way. Please be aware, before attempting further assaults to my person, that I am a resourceful individual who can easily get access to information regarding myself which would be inherent in your own culture through the assistance and goodwill of those that are also witnessing its toxicity as a culture, as being harmful to themselves and to others, but who may not be as courageous in showing their faces as many Ukrainians, current affairs, currently are. This is the high financial cost, but sadly also, the least likely to succeed culture repair option, as it would be very unlikely to be assigned a judge that is also a culture repairer and one who also knows what the French word is and how to properly manifest its definition for the civilization founding keyword of accountability, as applied to various manifestations of culture, such as education, and of the very justice system itself. This would also be the most shameful and distinctly French-Canadian option to select through your chosen inaction for the sake of safeguarding a variety of your vulnerable sectors. Finally, I remind you in this letter that I am using the English language for these legal matters, as French did not prove to be a language that could productively be used within your administrative cultures here in Quebec. Ending with the appropriate prejudice that results from your ongoing delays in the institution of civilized behavior, as opposed to impunity, as witnessed by a legal person possessing both sentience and sapience. Martin Parissa, the professor of socio-cybernetics.